Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zalfa Julia. I'm from Group 1, so here I will explain about colloid. Okay, please, next. Okay, what is colloid? Colloid is dispersion system with particles substantially larger than ions or small molecule but smaller than suspension particles. The particles are too small to be visible to the unaided eye. It is heterogeneous mixture, but this particle do not settle down. So that's why colloid is in between heterogen and homogen. And a colloid is a state between a solution and a suspension. Okay, next, please. So there are properties of colloids. So the colloids show the following properties. The first is it is a heterogeneous mixture, and the second is the size of colloidal particles is very small, about 1 until 1000 nanometers, and it shows the Tyndall effect. So the Tyndall effect is a scattering of light by colloidal particles. For example, is shining the headlights of a car on a foggy night and shining on projector headlights in the movie theater. Yeah, something like that. And next is absorption. Absorption of particles, ion, molecule, and colloidal surface. And the next is colloidal particles show Brownian movement. Okay, and here we have types of colloids. So this is the types of colloidal system. So there is dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Name and example. So for solid and the dispersion medium is solid, the name is solid. So for example is ruby glass, alloys, and for dispersed phase solid dispersion medium liquid name salt pen, examples pen and ink, and etc. You can see here in the table. And next, maybe we can move to the application of colloids. So for application of colloids, here we have in cosmetics industrial, such as foundation, finishing cream, deodorant, and etc. And in medicine, also we have in medical antibiotics such as penicillin and streptomycin. Penicillin and streptomycin are produced in colloidal form suitable for injection. And in food, the example is milk, salad dressing, gelatin dessert, fruit jellies, and whipped cream, and hemodialysis. Hemodialysis, basically, it is used to separate colloidal ions through semi-permeable pores through dialysis technique. So that's all from me. Thank you. Maybe for the next materials will be explained by Hilda.
Okay. So, let me explain about the additive. So, first, the definition of additive. Okay, food additives are substances that are intentionally added and mixed at the time of food processing for the purpose of improving appearance, food, improve taste, enrich nutritional content, keep food from rot quickly. And here, the types of food additives. First is coloring agent, and the second is sweetening agent. The third is fragrance agent. The fourth is flavoring agent, and the last is preservative. So next, okay, now it's a coloring agent. So coloring agent divided into two parts. First is natural agent. What is natural agent? Natural agent are dyes obtained from extracts of natural ingredients, such as pandan leaves produce green color, and turmeric produce yellow color, and carrots produce orange color, and etc. And for the synthetic agents are made from chemical, and the advantage of synthetic agent compared to natural agent is the availability of different color choices, more easier to store, and more durable. For example, is carmosine for the red color, sunset yellow FCF for yellow color, and then indigo carmine for the indigo tint, and etc. Next, the sweetening agent and the fragrance agent. First, it's about a sweetening agent. So, sweetening agent is the chemical substances added to food or beverage that serve to give a sweet taste. First, same as before, sweetening agent is divided into two parts. First is natural sweetener. Natural sweeteners are obtained from plants. For example, there is glucose in fruits, fructose in honey, and sucrose in sugarcane. And for the synthetic sweetener, synthetic sweeteners are artificial sweeteners that cannot produce energy when they enter the human body. For the examples of artificial sweeteners are saccharin, and then sodium cyclamate, magnesium or calcium cyclamate, aspartame, and then dulcane. And then we're gonna move to fragrance agent. So fragrance agents are substances that can give a distinctive aroma to food or drink. Same as before, fragrance agent divided into two parts. First is natural fragrance. Okay, natural fragrance. This substance comes from extracts of natural ingredients such as essential oils and vanilla. One part of the plant that can produce essential oils is from flowers. For example, is clove flowers. And then there is a synthetic fragrance. The substance is made to produce a certain aroma, usually a compound ester groups such as amyl caproate, or the apple aroma, and then the ethyl butyrate, or the pineapple aroma, and then the vanillin for the vanilla aroma. The last is methyl anthranilate for the grape scent. Next, we're gonna move to flavoring agent and the preservative. So for the flavoring agent, same as before, the flavor agent divided into two parts. First is natural flavoring, such as spices. For the example is garlic, onion, pepper, coriander, lemongrass, or bay leaf, and then pandan leaf. And then there is a synthetic flavoring. For example, is Ajinomoto, Miwon, Sasa, Royco, Meiji, and Itashira. And then for the preservative, same as before again, preservative divided into two parts. First is natural preservative. For the example, is salt and sugar or sucrose. And the last is synthetic preservative. For the example, is vinegar, sodium, and calcium propionate. And for the last, there is a side effect. Side effect if we use the Food and Drug. In fact, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, has approved thousands of food additives. Consuming small amounts of additives may be safe, but the health risk add up if you rely heavily on processed foods. So first, the side effect is some people are sensitive to particular food additives and may have reactions like hives or diarrhea. The second is the excessive use of MSG has led to Chinese restaurant syndrome. It's a health disorder in which the head feels dizzy and throbbing. And the last, many people view food additives as a major food threat. And the majority of preservatives used today are artificial rather than natural. Several of them are toxic, and several others have potentially life-threatening side effects. So, it is best to know what kind of additive is entering our body. Okay, that's all from me. Next material will be explained by Fildzah.
Okay, so is it my screen appear? Okay. Okay, so I'm Filza, and here I want to tell you about addictive substances. So, what are addictive substances? Addictive substances are substances that can cause dependence or addiction. People who are addicted want to use the substance continuously. Addictive substances divided into three groups. The first is narcotic substances, the second is psychotropics, and the third is other psychoactive. Okay, here first, the narcotic substances are substances or drugs derived from plant or not plant, either synthetic or semi-synthetic, which can cause a reduction or alteration of consciousness, reduce eliminate pain, and can lead dependence. And for the impact, uh, there is short term like loss of appetite, insomnia, and increased heart rate. And for the long term, there is permanent and damage to the blood vessels in the heart and brain, high blood pressure resulting in heart attack, stroke, and death. And narcotic substances, there are three groups. The first group is only used for scientific development purpose because it has a high potential to cause dependence. And the example is marijuana, or we know it as ganja, and then cocaine and opium. And the group two is efficacious treatment used as a last option that and can be used in the treatment or for the purpose of development of science like group one. The example is morphine, methadone, and pethidine. And the third group is used in treatment and widely used for the medical needs. And the example is ethyl morphine. And next, we go to a psychotropic substance. Psychotropic are substances or drugs, both natural and synthetic, non-narcotic, efficacious, psychoactive through selective effect on the central nervous system that causes typical changes in mental activity and behavior. And also for psychotropic substances, there are groups, consists four groups. The first group is the example is ecstasy, shabu. The first group is only used for scientific purpose, and the second group example is amphetamine, and it's efficacious for treatment and therapy. And the third is potentially medium cause. It is used for medicine, and the example is pentobarbital. And the last is the example is phenobarbital. It is potentially mild cause independence, so it can use for medicine. And the third is other psychoactive substance, which included other addictive substances are material or substances psychoactive, affect beyond the narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. And the impact is like talking less, drunk, dizzy, not be able to coordinate, the movement of hallucinations and delusions, and high blood pressure, stroke, and disease related to the heart disease, nerve damage, sexual problems, and permanent brain damage. And for the example, there is alcohol, because when we consuming alcohol, the alcohol content in our blood will increase so that it can cause drunkenness. So we will get drunk and loss of consciousness. And the second is caffeine. We must know that caffeine is found in coffee and tea, and which can improve brain performance that so that uh, we cannot get sleepy easily. And the last is nicotine, which found in tobacco leaves that used to cigarettes, and it can make dependence. And the last, based on its effect on the body, the addictive substances cause first hallucinogen. The example is psilocybe mexicana, and synthetic hallucinogens include LSA and LSD. And the second, sedative hypnotic depressant. The example is escitalopram, fluoxetine, fluvoxamine, and sertraline. And the last is stimulant. The example is caffeine, nicotine, and coke. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for your attention.